how's it going? It's That Nerd Ryan here, and today we're going to talk about Echo. So, this show, honestly, I was nervous for and not fully looking forward to. I figured it was going to kind of just be like a blow-off, and, I mean, seeing the trailer was cool, but then when they say all 5 episodes are released at once, that scared me too, because then it felt like it was going to be an afterthought. Also, Echo wasn't a well-known character, and she was like kind of a side villain, not even, in Hawkeye. So it was like a very big stretch for it to be a good show. And I gotta say, I love when I'm proven wrong. This was actually very good. It not only did it like represent Native American culture perfectly, or represent the character, or represent everything that Echo stands for like disability and stuff. This felt different. So it felt not like the MCU Marvel. It felt like Netflix Marvel, which we're going to talk about that in a second. And it felt like early 2000s superhero films, which I thought was pretty cool. It was nice to get kind of like a nostalgic breath of fresh air compared to everything that Marvel's been doing. And it's short and concise, and it doesn't really have any filler. There are, of course, a few gripes that I have, but there's a lot of good standing out. So, I'm going full spoilers. I mean, the whole season's up. It's been up for a week. So, if you haven't seen it yet, watch this video afterwards. But, yeah, it's just really, really good. Seeing Daredevil back in his iconic suit, Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin is always perfect, and just the side characters and everything are just perfect for Echo. It makes me hope that they make a season 2 or go back to her. I don't know if they will, but just it was a good, concise story. So what it is it takes place after Hawkeye. Echo, aka Maya Lopez, is trying to find a way to hurt the Kingpin. So she goes back to her hometown, meets up with her uncle, tries to avoid her grandmother, who blames her for everything going wrong, but really just blames her father. It's a big miscommunication. And as she's doing this, her past is catching up with her, along with her ancestral past. As she hurts Kingpin, he sends people after her, then stops them so he could deal with her himself, trying to recruit her back with fancy tech and everything like that. And then it ends up that she rejects it, so he tries to basically kill her whole tribe and family, but she finds the power within her to defeat him. And, yeah, I mean, that's how it ends. It actually ends with Kingpin debating running for mayor, which is going to be interesting. And yes, in Hawkeye, he did get shot in the head. He was able to obviously survive that, as well as use some technology to help fix his eye, which we'll get into the technology that Kingpin has in a second. But first things first, this series brought the Netflix Defenders series, aka Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Punisher, are now officially MCU canon, which is phenomenal. A lot more work for me, which is fine, but it is like so exciting to know now that the whole Netflix series wasn't just an afterthought, it actually fits. But like I said, this feels like it's a continuation after like Jessica Jones season 2, which is cool. Also with Marvel Spotlight, it doesn't really tie into the rest of the MCU. Like, it is part of it, but you don't have to have the knowledge of everything that's going on. You just kind of need to know Hawkeye, which even the first half hour of the show recaps Hawkeye. It also gives us more stuff. So that was a major complaint I had, was the first half hour of the first episode is literally recap. It does add on things like the Daredevil fight and like some other things, but I I spent the first half hour being like, okay, I kind of get it. Move on, show me new stuff. But like I said, I was happy to see Daredevil, so I'm not complaining about that. But like, I don't know, maybe a Marvel Legends thing would have worked better. But showing the the Daredevil fight, it's like kind of a conflict for me. Another thing that I felt was that the ending fight kind of just came out of nowhere. We never really explained that Maya had powers. It does show that her mom did, that they're potentially both mutants. But the fact is, like, Maya didn't really need to have superpowers, in my opinion. I don't know if she does in the comics, but using that, like, okay, I could pull from my generations of people, kind of reminds me of, like, the I'm all the Jedi sort of thing. And then they don't really explain how her power works, because we don't really fully know what happened to Kingpin in his vision that she puts him in. It like seems like maybe she took away that experience of him killing his father because it was such a defining moment from him, from his memory, but it doesn't really explain what he did, or if she trapped him in that memory temporarily to mess with him. But besides the point, just Vincent D'Onofrio being back as Kingpin is phenomenal. And I like seeing Daredevil be confident in this. I mean, he was in She-Hulk, but it's really cool to see him like, oh yeah, I fought a lot of people, but you're pretty good. Like kind of like just being like not super serious and stuff like that was really cool. Speaking of, it was very light humored in a good way. Like, I do agree, I am a Marvel fanboy, but a lot of the times the movies do get a little too hammy. This had like a justifiable amount of humor where like it wasn't a joke every 10 seconds. I think the only time I laughed was Fisk brought food and he goes, I think we should have like one of our classic Sunday night dinners, and she's like, it's Thursday. Which also makes me want to bring up my other favorite part in this, that like I'm really happy that like the show said something, because I was like thinking the show would not mention this, and then it would be like a thing that like New Rockstars or something would hang on being like, oh, this is how Fisk is and blah blah blah, and the show says it, which I was kind of happy, because it's like, yeah, it's kind of obvious, but I'm glad that Maya realized that. There's a point where Fisk gives her a contact lens that translates people's words into sign language. Then he has an earpiece that translates sign language into English, which I wouldn't know how his part worked. I mean, I could kind of figure, unless it was like a link between the contact and the hearing aid. But I mean, either way, I don't know how it would work with just, Marvel technology. But yeah, he does that to her and everything. And before she tries to kill him, she goes and says to him, "You're not my father or anything like that. Everybody else took the time to learn sign language, and you just gave me this because you didn't feel like you had the time to learn it," which was great. I was like, that's a very good like explanation and everything of showing Fisk versus her actual family. But yeah, so Echo was great. I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. It's that Nerd Ryan. Signing.